WikiLeaks Julian Assange releases video America needs to see. Leader of WikiLeaks Julian Assange is sharing some facts about Hillary Clinton once again. Clearly we already know Hillary is corrupt, but this may take the cake. In the interview below, Assange discusses how one email in all of Hillary's emails stand out above the rest. He shares that all serious analysts know, and even the US government has agreed, that some Saudi figures have been supporting ISIS and funding ISIS, but the dodge has always been that it is some rogue princes using their royal money to do whatever they like, but actually the government disapproves. However, this Hillary Clinton email says that it's not just a rogue prince, but the actual governments of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. When asked more details about the relations between Hillary and these governments, Assange shares a startling discovery. These governments are funding the Clinton Foundation, buying arms from the US and funding ISIS and ISIL. He shares under Hillary Clinton, and the Clinton emails reveal a significant discussion of it. The biggest ever arms deal in the world was made with Saudi Arabia, more than $80 billion. During her tenure, the total arms exports from the US doubled in dollar value. Breaking: Hillary is losing top security clearance after what the State Department just uncovered. Just as crooked Hillary Clinton thought the email scandal was behind her, it's now being reported that she is indeed facing yet another investigation into her mishandling of classified information. But this time the investigation is being conducted by the United States State Department. According to an article that surfaced on FoxNews.com this morning and Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley, it seems an official formal inquiry has been opened to look at whether her pantsuitness, who used a private server located in her own personal bathroom at her own residence, indeed violated government protocols and laws on classified materials. This might be what we've been waiting for, folks. The best part of all this is that although this hack still has her security clearance, even though she is currently being investigated, that could change very quickly. Via Fox News, the State Department has opened a formal inquiry into whether former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her aides mishandled classified information while she was the nation's top diplomat, Fox News has learned. Despite being under investigation, Clinton and her staffers still have security clearances to access sensitive government information. The department's investigation aims to determine whether Clinton and her closest aides violated government protocols by using her private server to receive, hold and transmit classified and top-secret government documents. The department declined to say when its inquiry began, but it follows the conclusion of the FBI's probe into the matter, which did not result in any actions being taken against Clinton or any of her aides. Depending on the outcome of the current State Department inquiry, Clinton and her aides could have their access to sensitive government documents terminated. Who forces these neighbors to take American flag down? What they did next is absolutely amazing. The irony of those individuals and organizations, who attempt to censor patriotic Americans from displaying their love of country, would not exist if it were not for those patriotic Americans and our unique heritage. A heritage that seems almost forgotten among the politically correct crowd, especially within our everyday lives, as we witness this continuous erosion of our values. The latest and perhaps most disturbing trend seems to be taking place right in our own backyards, within local municipalities and even among local homeowners associations, who have in recent years targeted homeowners like this proud 60-year-old Marine vet who was told he must take down Old Glory and his beloved Marine Corps flag, because the flags are causing irreparable damage by flapping in the wind. This Marine fought and sacrificed so that he and countless others could continue being free and to live within a society that respects those individual and inalienable rights, granted to us by our unique heritage as Americans. The impassioned 4-minute speech by Representative Ted Poe, our Texas, chronicles this Marine's battle with his association, and more importantly with other associations around the country, which are usually composed of individual homeowners, who hire counsel to advise them of potential issues that may pose a problem. All it takes is one disgruntled homeowner who may have a personal vendetta against America, for them to fold like a house of cards. However, like this Marine, Many homeowners are fighting back with innovative ways of displaying America's colors. One even went to the extreme of painting his house red, white, and blue. Lib lawyer goes public on Hillary cheating in presidential election. In an interview with Breitbart, Jared Beck of Beck and Lee Trial Lawyers, the lawyer who is representing Bernie Sanders supporters in a class action lawsuit against the DNC, alleged that the committee's actions were the ultimate Ponzi scheme and expects to find much more evidence of the DNC's misconduct in handing Hillary Clinton the nomination. During the interview, Beck said the suit rested on common law principles of misrepresentation and fraud. If there is anything new, it is the application of these principles to the sphere of political campaigns, he said. One might view this application as a natural consequence of Citizens United, an opinion that crystallizes campaign contributions as the quintessential form of American political participation. By equating political participation with financial contribution, Citizens United, by inference, incorporates all of the common law principles of fraud, negligent misrepresentation, etc. that typically govern in the economic sphere. Americans have a cognizable interest in the transparent and fair conduct of primary campaigns precisely because they, through their campaign contributions, are also financiers of the campaign. Beck also shared some rather harsh words regarding the DNC's methods during the interview. "I would think of this as a case against the ultimate political Ponzi scheme," he said of the committee's actions. "We are used to the concept of Ponzi schemes in the investment world. In my view, the DNC is really no different. It was purporting to be selling a fair primary process but in reality was serving as a front for the Hillary Clinton campaign. People lost well over $200 million as a result." Beck also mentioned a very mysterious phone call received from a number found to be tied to former DNC head, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. According to the Daily Caller, the person on the other end of the line inquired about the case while using voice disguising software. "The incident was startling at the time it happened and we are still very puzzled and concerned by it," Beck said. The caller had altered his or her voice to be unrecognizable, and refused to identify themselves. "But please understand that this is just one in a number of disturbing events that have occurred throughout the case. I have no idea who is behind the call, but according to the defendants, the matter has been referred to the Capitol Police," he added. Beck seems confident that, if the lawsuit moves forward, more evidence of the committee's misconduct would be exposed. "If we do get to the discovery phase, I think it is safe to say that we expect to find much more evidence of the DNC's misconduct, with the publicly released material being only the tip of the iceberg," Beck said. If what Beck alleges is true, and if the suit moves forward and finds that the DNC's nomination process was in fact rigged, the Democratic Party will be reeling, and practically toast, for the 2018 midterms. The amount time required to scramble around and unify the establishment and its base would be way too limited. Massive money trail found from George Soros to John McCain. In 2012, Arizona Republican Senator John McCain turned over nearly $9 million in unspent funds from his 2008 presidential campaign to the McCain Institute for International Leadership, a tax-exempt nonprofit foundation associated with Arizona State University. However, according to sources, critics from both sides of the aisle believe the institute constitutes major conflict of interest for McCain. Per the Daily Caller News Foundation's investigative group, DNCF, critics worry that the institute's donors and McCain's personal leadership in the organization's exclusive Sedona Forum bear an uncanny resemblance to the glitzy Clinton Global Initiative, CGI, that annually commingled special interests and powerful political players in alleged pay-to-play schemes. The institute has accepted contributions of as much as $100,000 from billionaire liberal activist funder George Soros and from Teneo, a for-profit company co-founded by Doug Band, former President Bill Clinton's bagman. Teneo has long helped enrich Clinton through lucrative speaking and business deals. And Bloomberg reported in 2016 on a $1 million Saudi Arabian donation to the institute, a contribution the McCain Group has refused to explain publicly. In addition, The institute has taken at least $100,000 from a Moroccan state-run company tied to repeated charges of worker abuse and exploitation. The McCain Group has also accepted at least $100,000 from the Pivotal Foundation, which was created by Francis Najafi, who owns the Pivotal Group, a private equity and real estate firm. The Pivotal Foundation has in the last 3 years given $205,000 to the National Iranian American Council, NIAC, which has been a vocal advocate for the Iranian nuclear deal the Obama administration negotiated. This is a very real conflict of interest, Craig Coleman, a government affairs lobbyist at Public Citizen, told DCNF. This is the similar type of pattern we received with the Clinton Foundation, in which foreign governments and foreign interests were throwing a lot of money in the hopes of trying to buy influence. Lawrence Noble, general counsel for the Campaign Legal Center, said that accepting contributions in the name of a sitting senator like McCain raises troubling issues. In terms of the ethics of it, it does raise a broad question of people trying to get goodwill with the elected official, he said. From a personal standpoint, I'd rather not see these entities exist. Charles Ortel, a retired Wall Street investment banker and philanthropy law expert, said that high government officials such as John McCain, former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton and President Barack Obama should not get involved with vehicles like these where substantial sums can be funneled over time in ways that at best, reeks of impropriety and at worst are public corruption. McCain, however, claims no involvement with the Institute, saying, "I'm proud that the Institute is named after me, but I have nothing to do with it." The Institute did not respond to DNCF requests for the dollar amounts of its high donors, when the donations were made, and if there were strings attached to the contributions, but referred it to Arizona State University instead. Russia goes public on Obama's secrets that happened during Obama's terms. Well. It seems Moscow's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova gave a rather long-winded answer when asked about the current state of U.S.-Russia relations. And you haven't heard about it, because it contains information about secrets the Obama administration had asked the Russian government to keep private, and the liberal mainstream media conveniently kept quiet about it. See her bombshell of a statement for yourself, and, spoiler alert. Pay extra attention to the second-to-last paragraph. Question: how do you see the future of Russian-U.S. diplomatic relations in the context of the current atmosphere in Washington? Can you confirm that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will come to Moscow in April? Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, Moscow. Apparently, many volumes have been written about the development of Russian-U.S. relations. I announced the release of the Foreign Ministry's year-end diplomatic bulletin and even showed it at the previous briefing. I believe that about 20% of that bulletin was devoted to Russian-U.S. relations, the way we see them, how we want them to develop, what we expect from Washington, what we are willing to do with the United States, the priority areas of cooperation, areas where our cooperation should be revived without delay, and the areas where this can wait, at least for a limited time. This issue has been covered in interviews by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, comments by Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, and in numerous statements made at all levels by representatives from various Russian agencies, political analysts and politicians, as well as officials from the legislative and executive authorities. We can talk about bilateral relations with a different degree of mastery, but we would like to start implementing our relationship at long last. We provided our views on bilateral relations and the reasons for blocking them under President Obama. We said that we were willing to work with the new U.S. administration, under President Trump. I don't think we need to invent anything in this respect, because so much has been said before. Simply, we should start concrete practical work. We are ready for this. You know that we always invite our American colleagues and diplomats to join bilateral or multilateral dialogues on issues in which the United States has traditionally played a big unactive role, such as Syria, the consultations in Astana, and many others. We expect Washington to formulate its foreign policy approaches in the form of a concept. We are ready for pragmatic and specific work on the principles that we have described many times. As for the visit by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and the information about it, this is what I can say. It's not a secret that preparations for any visit include the coordination of the time when it can be announced. Visits by foreign ministers are public events that are never kept secret. At least, I don't know about any secret visits by foreign ministers in Russia or the United States. Preparations for such a visit also include the coordination of the format, agenda and the date it can be announced to the public. It is a matter of propriety and respect for each other's interests. One side proposes a date, and the other side is expected to accept it. This date should be acceptable to both sides, because the foreign ministers have packed schedules. The issue also concerns the coordination of the agenda by experts. One side informs the other side of the issues it plans to discuss, and the other side needs to respond that the agenda is acceptable. In other words, the sides need to reach agreements on many issues, after which they can announce an upcoming visit. This is how we work with our colleagues.